see what happens. They set up a date, and the date is going to be sometime in the very near future.
Do you have a new deadline?
No, I don't have a deadline. You know what the deadline for me is? When it's over. And I think everybody's tired of fighting at this moment. They're losing too many people.
Dilaporkan perang Rusia Ukraina telah memasuki hari ke-1372 pada Rabu 26 November 2025. Presiden Amerika Serikat Donald Trump mengirim utusan khusus Witkoff ke Moskow untuk bertemu dengan pemimpin Rusia Vladimir Putin. Trump mengatakan menantunya Kushner mungkin juga akan bergabung dalam pertemuan Witkoff Putin. Presiden Trump juga menugaskan Menteri Angkatan Darat dan Riskol untuk bertemu pejabat Ukraina. Terkini Trump menarik kembali tenggat waktu yang ia tetapkan ke Ukraina untuk menyetujui rencana perdamaian yang didukung Amerika Serikat. Pernyataan itu disampaikan Trump di Air Force One pada Selasa 25 November. Pihaknya mengecilkan bagian rencana yang mengharuskan Ukraina menyerahkan wilayah. Trump menyebut Rusia kemungkinan tengah bersiap merebut wilayah yang diinginkan.
Okay, hello everybody. How are you? Hi. How are you? What would you like to know today?
Could you start off by telling us the latest with Russia and Ukraine? Are you expecting Zelensky to come visit you?
We're having good. I don't know. He would like to come, but I think we should get a deal done first. We're having good talks. We started with Russia, having some talks with Russia. Ukraine is doing well. I think they're pretty happy about it. They'd like to see it end. And we won't know for a little while, but we're making progress.
You said, what are the big things?
We settled 8 wars, and I thought this would be one of the easier ones because of my relationship with President Putin. But this is probably one of the more difficult ones. There's a lot of hatred.
You said there were some disagreement. There was still left to be.
Yeah, a few.
Can you tell us what those are?
Well, it's just standard things when people are starting to realize it's a good deal for both parties and they got to stop the war. They're losing a lot of people, a lot of soldiers, mostly soldiers.
In that 28-point plan that was originally leaked, there were some portions of that that said that Ukraine.
Well, that was an original proposal, and then from there we went back and forth.
So when it comes to ceding land to Russia, is that still on the table or has that changed?
Well, they're talking about going land both ways and trying to clean up a border. You know, you can't go through the middle of a house, you can't go through the middle of a highway. So they're trying to work something. It's a complicated process. Doesn't go that quickly.
What about security guarantees and Ukraine?
Well, we're working that out with Europe. Europe will be largely involved in that. We're working that out with Europe. Europe really wants to see it end if possible.
There were a lot of Republicans who felt that the first 28-point plan was too favorable to Russia. Have you changed
Well,
that?
that was just a map. All that was is a map. That was not a plan. It was a concept. And from there, they've taken each one of the 28 points, and then you get down to 22 points. A lot of them were solved, and actually very favorably solved. So we'll see what happens.
Do you think that Ukraine was being asked to give too much land back to Russia? I know at one point you said they shouldn't have to give any back.
It's really up. Look, the way it's going, if you look, it's just moving in one direction. So eventually that's land that over the next couple of months might be gotten by Russia anyway. So do you want to fight and lose another 50, 60,000 people? Or do you want to do something now? In some cases, the land is going in the other direction. So they're negotiating. They're trying to get it done. You want to have a border. You can't have a border that goes through a highway or a border that goes through the middle of a town. So that doesn't work. So it's a long, complicated process. And very, very sad because so many people are being killed.
What's the next step?
They're going to keep talking. They're talking to Russia now. Steve Witkoff is going over, maybe with Jared. I'm not sure about Jared going, but he's involved in the process, smart guy, and they're going to be meeting with President Putin, I believe, next week in Moscow.
Next week in Moscow?
I think so, yes.
What kinds of concessions are the Russians going to have to make?
Well, they're making concessions. Their big concession is they stop fighting and they don't take any more land. Again, it's a war that would have never happened if I was president. This was not anything that was going to happen. This happened because of stupidity. It's too bad.
Mr. President.
So if Witkoff is going to Russia next week, does that mean that Thanksgiving deadline doesn't stand anymore for Ukraine? Ukraine to agree to
We're going to
this?
see what happens. They set up a date, and the date is going to be sometime in the very near future.
Does it have a new deadline? Or do you need
I don't have a deadline. You know what the deadline for me is? When it's over.
Have you
And I think everybody's tired of fighting at this moment.
Mr. President.
They're losing too many people.
Have you heard this audio that Bloomberg has of Witkoff coaching the Russians on how to appeal to you?
Well, I haven't heard it, no, but that's a standard thing, because he's got to sell this to Ukraine. He's got to sell Ukraine to Russia. That's what a deal maker does. You got to say, look, they want this. You got to convince them of this. That's a very standard form of negotiation. I haven't heard it, but I heard it was standard negotiation. And I would imagine he's saying the same thing to Ukraine, because each party has to give and take.
So you're worried that he's too pro-Russian?
No, I think, look, this war could go on for years, and Russia's got a lot more people, got a lot more soldiers, So I think if Ukraine can make a deal, it's a good thing. I think it's great for both. Frankly, I think it's great for both. But Ukraine's got it's a much smaller group of people. They've lost a lot of people. Russia's lost a lot of people, but Russia has a much bigger pool of people.
Download Tribun X sekarang, menghadirkan lokal menjadi Indonesia.